Okay, in this video, we're talking about 5 ways to avoid probate. So remember, probate is a legal process that occurs after somebody passes away. Most people, if they've been through it, wish they hadn't gone through it. So it's definitely something that you want to avoid. It's public record, takes a lot of time, costs a lot of money. You got to hire an attorney. And it just leads to a lot of fights amongst siblings, amongst the beneficiaries. So we're talking about 5 different ways that you can avoid it. Number one, and probably our favorite way to do it, or at least to be a part of the plan, is by creating some sort of trust. So the difference between the will and the trust, just having a last will and testament, just having a will is not going to avoid probate, whereas a trust, if done properly, if the assets are put into the trust, can avoid probate. So there's a lot of benefits. There's tax benefits to reduce estate tax if that's going to be an issue for your kids. Divorce protection for your spouse if they get remarried after you pass away, so that that new spouse, if they get divorced, doesn't take half of the things that you were going to leave to your kids. Or the money that you leave to your kids, you leave money to your daughter, she's married, they get divorced, and now the spouse takes 50%. There's a lot of good things that you can do with the trust, but specifically for this, it's a great way to avoid probate. Number 2, you could just start giving things away, right? So, and this might be a strategy that you use, especially if you're, need to qualify for Medicaid or different government benefits, and there's some rules to it, so you can't just give everything away right away. But you might start putting your house in your kid's name. You might start putting your children as the owners on some of your bank accounts, or giving them money, different things like that. So gifting, basically, if you don't have anything in your name, chances are there's not going to be any need for probate. Number 3, right of survivorship. And usually where we see this, is with real estate. Brother and sister own a piece of real estate together. It says, John, a single man, Jane, a single woman, as joint tenants with right of survivorship. And what that means is when John passes away, his 50% automatically goes to his sister. There's no need for probate. So you can do this on different types of assets. You can do it sometimes on bank accounts. Again, real estate, it's very common where you just have that language on the deed that says joint tenants with right of survivorship. And when you have that language, it avoids probate. Whoever is the survivor automatically takes that asset, and there's no need for probate. A POD or a TOD, so payable on death, transferable on death. A lot of times this is usually going to be at a bank. So you've got a checking, you've got a savings account, you're the owner, it's your account. But when you die, you've listed somebody, let's say a child, and they're listed as a beneficiary, or it's probably going to say payable on death to this person. So when you pass away, that person that you've named as POD or TOD, they don't have to go through probate. They'll be able to go to the bank, show their identification, and they'll get direct access to that money, and no probate's necessary. And, step number 5 or number 5, how to avoid probate, life insurance, right? So if you've got a life insurance policy, so long as you've named a beneficiary, or maybe you've named a trust, maybe it's a irrevocable life insurance trust, but if you've named a beneficiary and they are still alive when you pass away, he or she's not going to have to go through probate. They're going to get the proceeds directly. Again, very easy way to avoid probate. So you can use a trust, you can gift everything away, you can have rights of survivorship, payable at death, or transferable in death, or life insurance as an easy way to avoid probate.